Time management's important for everyone, but it becomes even more critical now that you're a manager. If you're not so great about time management when you're an individual contributor, that affects you. But as a manager, if you botch this, it affects everyone on your team and it throws your entire team behind schedule. You can't afford to have that happen. So this is a skill that becomes really essential. Early in my career, I had a boss that was not great with time management. He was constantly running around. He was on the road going from meeting to meeting, and he was hard to get a hold of. And I experienced a lot of problems where I would need an answer to a question or I would need guidance from him and I just couldn't reach him. And so oftentimes that meant that work stagnated, or even worse, I sometimes just had to make an educated guess, which sometimes was right and sometimes was not. That is not the situation you want your people to be in. You want to be able to give them clear, meaningful guidance when it counts. So fundamentally, there are three things you can do in order to manage your time more effectively now that you're in your new role. The first thing to do, and this is probably the most important, is to always prioritize the messages and requests that you have where someone else's work depends on yours. Now, if you think about your email inbox, for instance, you're probably getting a huge volume of messages every day. And sometimes, obviously, you may fall a little bit behind if you have a busy day, if you have a lot of meetings. But the most important thing that you can do, a habit that you can create, is to scan your inbox every day and put a star next to the messages where someone has an urgent question or deadline or issue that requires your input to move forward. If you can do nothing else except that, you're making sure that you're not bottlenecking your entire organization. Second, a great practice for you to get in the habit of is leaving a small gap in your schedule in order to accommodate unforeseen events. Now, it is hard sometimes to protect your schedule. You're a busy person, and there's a tendency, if you want to get a lot done, to fill every minute of your calendar with meetings or phone calls or things that you need to do. But instead, if you're able to make sure that you protect on a regular basis 60 minutes or even sometimes just 30 minutes per day, that can be extraordinarily valuable. You may not ever need that time. You can just use it for messages or catching up on work. But if you protect it, it enables you to have a window where if an urgent situation comes up, you have a place to put it in. You never want to be in a situation where some crisis happens and you can't attend to it properly because you're back to back with meetings or other obligations that you can't get out of. So leaving that extra margin or leeway can be very important for you as a practice. And then third and finally, it is a great habit to get into to make sure that you are always aware of what your number one priority is for that day, and extra points if you know your top 3 priorities for that day. Because that way you really are able to focus on what's most meaningful. Sometimes if you're not clear on where you should be spending your time, it's easy to get sidetracked talking to someone or answering messages or doing a minor task that's not really essential but just feels good to knock off your to-do list. But actually, you're going to be far more effective if you focus on the highest priority task of the day, and being clear on what it is the first step in order to be able to get it done.